right. What's up, Twitch? What's up, YouTube? It's Thursday. Just a little after... Oh, let's mute that. Just a little after 10 p.m. And it's time for BrackCast. It's now BrackCast 51. I've been away for the past 2 weeks because of a trip. I only got back last Thursday. It's too late. It's way too tired. So picking up again. We're back at it today. So sorry for being a little MIA for the past couple weeks. Today we're going to talk about Apu. Apu, I think it's Nahasapima Petalon. Pretty sure that's his name. And he's the subject for debate. I'm going to pull up this article right now from the Sociable that I just came across. I mean, I know already there's a Netflix special, I think. I think it's Netflix. Netflix Apu special. All right, let's see here. The Problem with Apu. Is it on Netflix? All right. Streaming now on True. Oh, okay. Well, here's the example, guys. Let me show you. So this is on Wikipedia. And it's written by Hari Kondabalu, directed by Michael Malamedov. Oh, what's up, Deji? I hear you, but you're quiet. I just started. We're live. And yeah, I'm going over this documentary, I guess. Now streaming on True. I think it's on Netflix too. I'm not sure. But it's called The Problem with Apu. Do you know about the debate with Apu, Deji?
No, I just saw a very extended debate over in the group chat.
Yeah. It was a good one. I wish we could have had it on the cast. But so basically this comedian, who is, I guess, Indian or brown at least, made a whole documentary to cancel Apu because of obviously racism and discrimination. Here we go. And he makes some good points. Like, we can watch the trailer at least to kind of go over. Have you seen the trailer?
No, I haven't.
Okay, and then there's also another comedian who's also, I think he's Indian, maybe, but he's brown too. And he's for Apu. He thinks Apu is actually a good, strong character and representation of, like, brown people on media. So, because, okay, so what we can do is watch both. What do you want me to do? Do you want me to stream the example?
Tune into
the stream? Okay. All right, so we will go The Problem with Apu. Okay. And then there was... I'm trying to find the other... Warren linked the other comedian's take on it. And we'll watch that one too. And we can react to it. Let me just see here. Search Apu. There we go. So I can have this up as well.
What was racist about Apu?
Okay. Are you on it? Are you watching?
Yeah.
Okay. Which one should we watch? Oh, we'll do The Problem first. Do The Problem with Apu trailer. I guess it's this one. 9 minutes? No, that's too long. Official trailer. There we go. True TV. Okay. Here we go. Let me turn off this music. All right. Hopefully the volume's high enough. Here we go. We'll react to this.
I hate Apu. And because of that, I dislike The Simpsons.
The whole series.
Yeah.
I love The Simpsons because...
You hate yourself.
My name is Hari Kondabalu. I've had a great career filled with laughter, critical acclaim. I should be completely happy. But there's still one man who haunts me. Apu Nahasapima Petalon.
Please pay for your purchases and get out and come again.
How many of you had to deal
guy's
with
been on
being
House.
called a poo or that
Yeah.
being referenced?
Yeah.
The Simpsons, stereotypes, all races. The problem is, we didn't have any other representation. Cabby, 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 deli, deli, deli. Doctor.
You know that a white guy does the voice?
A white guy doing an impression of a white guy making fun of my father.
How do you feel about that?
Oh, I'm making a movie about how much I dislike it.
Right away, they were like, can you do an Indian voice and how offensive can you make it? I would immediately begin to talk this way. I was like, it's not tremendously accurate. It's a little stereotype. Like, that's all right.
They want the accent to sound like this and they want your tongue to be really pulled back.
So Patay King was going into a room and having to do that exact thing in front of people like a monkey.
There are accents that, by their nature, to white Americans, sound funny, period.
It's funny because it's racist. Does Apu count as a minstrel since it's brown paint, a white guy's voice?
He has all the qualifications.
Remember, please, children, that in life, there is nothing that is not so disgusting that it cannot be sold on a heated roller at a nearly criminal markup.
Now, I realize some of you think I'm some annoying PC social justice warrior that's very sensitive, and you're probably thinking, come on, Snowflake, let it go. Well, I have let it go for 28 years.
All right.
I hate him.
All right. So, do you want to comment on that first, or should we watch the counter right away, and then we can talk about the debate?
Yeah, let's watch the counter.
Watch the counter. Okay. There we go. We'll just watch the first part because this is way too long, but he makes comments about it right in the beginning, and it's a good summary of basically the counter argument here.
What was racist about Apu? Here is a brown man, married to a beautiful brown woman, owns his own business, selling overpriced products to unwitting white people. Apu is not racist. He's the American dream.
So yeah, that's the point. And yeah, there's an Apu debate, pinches political correctness nerve. Apparently, the Simpsons removed him from the show.
Oh, when?
Recently, over the weekend, IndieWire reported the Simpsons would be quietly phasing out its most controversial character, Apu. This was 3 years ago. Okay, I mean, so maybe they took him out already. Let's look it up. Is Apu gone from The Simpsons? The Simpsons removed Apu from its series after complaints that the character was problematic. While the show has taken steps to ensure the character won't be offending audiences anytime soon, Apu has yet to be reintegrated into the series. That was March 23rd, 2021. So I guess he's gone. Oh, very yellow version of him here. Okay.
Well, my take on it, I guess, like, if I was part of the brown community, how would I feel about that character? I would feel it's pretty stereotypical. I mean, you know, so I empathize on that side of things. You know, and like, yeah, the fact that it is like voiced by a white dude is also kind of like funny.
Is that
but not
okay?
funny.
So, do you equate that to almost like, you know, what do they call that? Something's
Cultural appropriation, or
no, blackface? Blackface.
I mean, I guess there's like parallels, but that's the thing with like Simpsons is a cartoon, right? Like, it's a cartoon. It's on television. You know, it's for entertainment purposes. You know, and it's a comedy too, right? So it's like, that's where it gets a little tricky, you know, because like there's probably I'm sure there's a shit ton of brown people that found him hilarious, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So, you know me, I always try to see both sides of things, but if I had to pick, I would weigh how much the outcry is versus like how much people don't give a shit, And if more people didn't give a shit, I would just left him in the show. You know?
Well, okay, well that's the thing. If people didn't give a shit, then it doesn't really matter to them if he's gone. I would see it more like the people who want him out versus the people who want to keep him, who actually want to fight to keep him, right?
Okay, that's an interesting. Yeah, so I mean, the same math would apply. If there was more people that was like, yo, like we want to keep this guy, then I would vote on that side. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think anyone is fighting to keep him because I'm pretty sure anyone who is not wanting him out just doesn't care or won't care enough, right?
Yeah, I mean, and you could definitely see that happening. Like that actually makes sense to me. It's like, yeah, it would make sense that, you know, he's already controversial, so it would make sense that there's a larger percentage of people that want him gone versus a percentage of people that specifically wanted to keep him.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, so I see that. I see that argument.
Like, I want to look it up. Let's look up all racial characters on The Simpsons. There's got to be a picture. Like, do you know? Do you like recall?
I just remember like Apu's the one character I remember. You know, Homer, Marge, Bart, Lisa, fucking
Dr. Hibbert.
What's the name of the weird guy? Flanders?
Ned Flanders. I guess we can show this image for now. They have everybody here. Oh, here. This is a good photo with everybody. Oh, it's tiny. But yeah, basically the other ones, there's Groundskeeper Willie, right? So let me put this image. Can I make this bigger? I can't make it bigger. Anyway, we're just gonna have to use it like this. Pull up the sample. So yeah, Groundskeeper Willie, he's I think Irish or Scottish.
Huh.
You got this the Asian chef guy. I think he's Japanese or Chinese, but he very much has a, you know, the skinny eyes and the like he talks like this, you know, like it's almost like part of the Japanese mafia, the Yakuza. There's the Hispanic bee. Do you remember the Hispanic bee?
No, I don't.
He's like a bumblebee. Here, let me pull him up. Hispanic bee, The Simpsons. If you want to look on the cast, you'll recognize him immediately. I'm sure. He's like, ay, ay, ay.
Oh, okay, this guy.
That guy? Okay. So there's that guy too, which they make a big point of. I mean, yeah, I guess the jazz man, the black jazz guy.
Yeah.
I mean, what other was there, like a Jewish? Oh yeah, and the chocolate kid, the German chocolate kid, right? It's like, don't tickle me, I'm full of chocolate. That guy.
What the fuck? I don't remember that guy.
All right, let's look. German chocolate, The Simpsons. This kid right there.
Oh, okay. Wow, what the fuck?
Uta Zorka. His name is Uta. But okay. I mean, yeah, they're like, well, what about all their other stereotypes? And they're saying too, like Chief Wiggum, is he the stereotype of a policeman, police chief, lazy, likes donuts, fat, makes poor decisions in terms of the force? But in terms of race, oh yeah, there's another brown guy. This guy is Apu's friend. I don't remember them specifically, but you know, what do you think of representation in the show? Okay, as a kid, obviously I didn't know these issues when I was growing up. When I first saw The Simpsons, also, granted, that was also when the show was old. When who's Mr. Burns? Smithers. Remember Smithers? Smithers used to be black, eh? Smithers,
oh, really?
Black. Yeah. Let me show. Yeah, I popped it up in the stream. So he changed from this like nerdy, I guess maybe brown or black looking guy, but he had blue hair, to now a white guy with gray hair.
Oh, what the fuck? Interesting. Oh, the assistant.
Assistant, yeah, Mr. Burns' assistant.
Oh,
Smithers.
whoa. Interesting.
So I wonder, and that change, I wonder, yeah, the Adventures of Black Smithers. I wonder if that was a strategic change. You know, it had to be. Obviously, anything kind of changed in the show would have been a big decision like that. But
that's so funny.
So again, growing up, hearing the stereotypical accents was funny to me. I guess I kind of had a Filipino accent, but my first language really was English, so I can't really say that like I could really relate to being made fun of because of my accent, because I never really had one. But growing up, knowing how my parents talked, knowing how my relatives talked, I learned the Filipino accent through the humor behind it. Yeah, well also I didn't like it. I don't like it either. I don't want to sound like that. I don't like the typical Filipino accent. I've grown very accustomed to the Canadian accent.
Okay.
You know? So
yeah.
I don't know. Do you have Oh yeah, okay. So you're Nigeria, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Is there an accent?
Oh yeah. Oh, for sure. What?
Like that? Is it like that African?
I mean, it's just unique, and you know.
Can you fake it?
Can I fake it? No, I mean I have it. Well,
yeah.
I don't need to fake it because like it's still in my brain.
Okay, well I mean like I can't hear it. Like can you just turn it on? Like can you give an example? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I can.
Here we go.
I don't know if I necessarily want to do that right now, but
it's all good, man. It's like when Kyle turns on his Trini accent. You know, it's not that he's pretending, right? It's like he has it too.
You know what's weird? It like comes on like
around
automatically when you're like around family, and I don't understand that because like it's not a conscious thing.
Yeah.
It really isn't a conscious thing. Do you find like you? So
for me, it has to be. Yeah, I can't.
Yeah.
Just turn it on. Like it. Yeah. Even if I go to the Philippines, it's effort for me to do it. You know, it's out of norm for me. But Kyle said the same thing too when he's around fam, or around like what is it, like the Caribbean Students Association or whatever is it, or isn't there one in Waterloo? I forget what
Waterloo. I think it was called UW Base or something.
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah.
I don't know. It was like a bunch of
something like that too. Like there's a couple.
CS.
There was AFSRA. There was the Caribbean. Yeah, there was a bunch. There's like at least 4.
Okay. So yeah, he says whenever he's around anyone from the Caribbean, or whenever we went down to Jamaica, or when we went down to Dominican, it just kind of turned on whenever other people were around him were speaking in their kind of like native comfortable accent. It would turn on for him too. He's not thinking about it either, right? So back to the Simpsons. Yeah.
No, I was like, I wonder what that says about just like human adaptability. You know, that's like I don't know. It's like a instinct thing, you know, because it's not conscious. It's like your body wants to like, you know, reconnect back with like these people on a very like physiological level, down to how the sound is coming out of your mouth, you know, if that makes sense.
I think it's like muscle memory. I think it functions like muscle memory, where, you know, if you catch yourself in a comfort zone in an action, your body does automatically what it needs to when you're like, I don't know, swimming, riding a bike, snowboarding. But like in language, similar, you know, the external environment is feeding you with this accent. Yeah. So then your natural reflex is to like reciprocate it. Like if it's innate in you, like you'll do it now automatically, which makes sense to me.
Yeah, that's dope. I was listening to this, I guess kind of on the flip side of that, this podcast where they were talking about like how do you teach babies like language? And they said it's like by incrementally speaking to them in like more difficult sentences or something like that. So
Yeah.
they constantly have to learn it, and then they just get it. You know, that's like that's one of the things that blows my mind. Two things really blow my mind: the fact that like women can just make a human.
Yeah.
Like, have you just like sat down and just like really thought about that?
Like specifically human beings.
Yeah,
I mean,
like,
it happens in every species,
yeah,
though. Like, yeah. I mean, that's how
yeah, but
cells
still, it's
work.
like it's still like just when you just think about it though, there's like another like human just like in this woman's body, like
Right.
consistently blows my mind. And then the second thing is like, yo,
It's a
how the
miracle.
fuck do people just like, how do babies who fucking goo goo gaga, how do they learn how to talk?
Yeah.
Like what? You know.
What's
Anyways.
cool is when you have parents, multilingual parents, and the baby or the child as grows up, obviously they're talking in multiple languages, and they pick up on all of it, right? But it's if you think about it, I don't know what kids start talking to like 2 or 3, maybe.
Yeah.
So that's 3 years of like exposure to a language, also with like association, obviously with like motion, like feeding, eating, like yes or no, you know, yours, mine, me, you, all that stuff. So it's very basic, but I mean, 3 years is a long time of everyday learning something, because there's nothing really else they're being exposed to.
That's true.
On like a teachable, it's like you just experience these things on a daily basis. You're not really forced to. No one's like making you learn anything. You just have nothing else to do but learn, right?
Yeah.
As a new like creature. So it's cool how I like. Apparently, as a child, that's the most malleable you can be in terms of learning multiple languages. Like it's the best time to learn multiple languages when you're young, because then when you're older, you get set in like whatever language, and it's a lot harder to pick up.
Man. Yeah, your head is actually like physically malleable too.
As
When
a
you're
child,
just
yeah.
born? Yeah, like when you're
You can
born?
deform bones and stuff. You could like fall. If you fall as a baby or something, your body will like change shape, and it can set that way, or you can like fix it over. It can like it'll like normalize again
man.
after. Your bones aren't hard yet. Yeah, this calcium isn't like set. It's crazy.
Crazy, yo. Like, oh man. What was the thing I was about to say? Oh, it's gone. I lost it. Anyway.
Human being, creature,
Yeah,
baby.
languages. It has something to do with languages. All right, it's all good.
It'll come back to you, hopefully.
It'll come back.
So, growing up, not understanding what racism is or what stereotypes are.
Okay.
It's true. So what Day was saying in the chat was this, Karen of a comedian who has not been very successful in his career is making like a last ditch effort to kind of make a name for himself, and is using Apu to do that. And it's just, he just wasn't successful enough as a comedian, so he's gonna like take advantage of this cancel culture opportunity climate to make a name for himself. It's a fair point. I don't necessarily think that's specifically that guy's
Agenda?
motive, like agenda, but it could be. It could be. It's like it could have bothered him as a kid. 28 years, he said, right? It's like he what was the word? Letting it go for 28 years. I don't think he understands what letting go means. Because when you let go of something, it's not supposed to come back. But anyway, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I'm sure it bothered him. Maybe he was made fun of it too. And I do empathize for kids. I'm trying to think.
Oh, I remember now.
Do any of your friends... Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Oh, no, finish. I have it.
I'll remember.
It's locked in.
Yeah.
Okay, so basically, like, the point you made about kids always, like, because they have nothing to do, so they're basically always learning how to talk.
Yeah.
that also, because I've heard the theory, that's why infants like are crying all the time, because they're basically like learning all the time. Like picture you doing calculus for 24 hours every day. That's what the
I'd
guy
cry
like,
too, yeah.
yeah, he's like, yo, you cry too, So it's like, yeah, man.
That's true.
Like incrementally harder, like shit every day. It's like, oh my god, fuck this.
Well, from what I understood is it's very basic. You know, they're out, they sleep and they eat and they poop. Right? Or they pee or poop, right? Because that's all the body's doing naturally. Decisions wise, nothing's really being made decision wise, right? I wonder when consciousness and like actual recognition happens in a brain,
right?
The crying is actually immediately associated with need of something, which is generally food, like milk. So that's the first association. You're not getting something that you want, you cry. It's almost like a survival mechanism, right? It's a survival tactic or whatever.
It's part of it, yeah.
But then, in terms of if you get past that, I guess where you start to understand and comprehend surroundings, when you start to, your eyes get sharper, you probably notice more things when you're being cognitive. I think that's when it's like, okay, I'm lost in this world. I don't know what anything is, and you're trying to make sense of it. Yeah, that's freaking frustrating. I can see how that it's like waking up in a totally different world, and you're like, all right, you'll survive, and not panicking. And there's no maturity yet. There's no experience. There's no nothing. But you're introduced into this external world from where you were like incubating inside your mom, and you're out, and you're like, all right, man, live. And you're like, I don't know what anything is.
Huh. My brain just kind of like went dark when you mentioned that.
Dark?
Okay. Yeah, a little bit. Okay, so like we just said now about a lot of that too has to do with need, and they don't necessarily have like consciousness yet, right? And it's like, it's when they become like self-aware, aware of their surroundings, of their spaces. That's when, they stop crying as much, and they really start like, interacting and like expressing their emotions and feelings and stuff.
When you see them stare at stuff.
Yeah, they're comprehend shit. They're trying to like, they're trying to like comprehend shit, and it's like, So what state would we call that baby then, if not like some form of like inverted dementia? Because if you think of dementia, right, and old people,
forgetting stuff,
they're basically like just lost. They don't know like what anything is. Like I'm talking about really bad stages.
Right. When they're losing brain function, you mean?
Yeah, they're reverting back. There's a parallel there.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess it's like
Benjamin Button.
something like that. There's some sort of parallel there, because it's like, on the flip side, I guess, like there's an overwhelming love, admiration, protection, et cetera, of babies. Not necessarily so much for old people. I mean, like, yeah, there is, obviously, but in this society, old people are kind of like, yo, like speaking like on a very real way, like society doesn't really like care about old people.
Yeah.
I guess with like newborns, it's like it's new life, and with like old people, it's like, yeah, you've lived your life already, so like, yeah, get out of here, grandpa. But anyway, yeah, parallels there. Anyway, yeah, continue. Sorry.
No, it's good. No, that's makes sense to me. It is kind of like the reverse of like when you're losing your mind, but when you're actually like finally grasping your mind, it's like, oh, things are starting to make sense.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah.
But there's a lot more nurturing involved as a child. You got like really involved, caring parents usually, hopefully. Like, you know, hopefully you have really nurturing parents that are like trying to teach. At the same time, when you're super old and you like, you know, no one's around, you're like alone. When you start experiencing dementia, you start to lose your mind. That's sad. That's sad because there's no one really like there to like, take care of you. That's actually pretty dark. Yeah.
Pretty dark, man. That's my job.
Okay, well, I was saying, as a kid, did you, specifically with Apu's case, do you remember any of your classmates ever being called Apu?
No.
I don't either.
No, I don't.
I remember the accent. First time I did hear the accent, I thought, well, that sounds different, and it's funny to me. And yes, the actor Hank Azaria, he does like 6 or 7 of the voices on the show. He's like a voice actor, right?
Wow.
So Apu was just another one on the list. Like, oh, you could do the voice, all right. So they don't have to like hire someone else to do it. I don't necessarily think that was specific. You know, like, oh well, let's create this character. What we should do is hire someone to voice this character. I don't think a creator of a show, I don't know. Nowadays I see that. Nowadays I think casting is more of like a deliberate focus, you know, like, all right, we're gonna cast this specifically, and race is very much a big part of that factor now. Like whether it be casting you know, Ariel in the next coming Little Mermaid, you know, or casting all these new movies or new TV show series too, where it's like, you know, that this took times during like imperial, like British rule, or is all like royalties, all white people, but you have this very ethnic, colorful cast doing this show, you know. I've seen a lot of those where. So, what was I getting at? Right, casting. So when they start this show, I don't think they're like, all right, man, we need to get one of these, we need to get one of these, get one of these. I think everything is an exaggeration on the show, and as I was saying in the chat too, its primary comedic focus is comedic purpose was stupidity, like people being dumb. Homer was dumb. Homer made dumb decisions, which was out of the norm, which makes it funny. And then Barney, the dumb drunk. Principal Skinner was kind of like the dumb principal, like he's like unaware of what the students were up to. Chief Wiggum, the dumb police chief. And then you've got Mayor Quimby, the dumb mayor who doesn't know anything. Like everybody was dumb. Whenever something was funny, it was because it was dumb. It's not what you would normally do. And then, you know, but if you made all the characters white or yellow in this show anyway, it's like, well, this doesn't appeal to the nation, America, right? It's U.S.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, well, and it makes sense. I'm like, okay, well, I guess we should diversify the cast and have black people, brown people, Asian people. I mean, they have the Italian guy and the Italian restaurant guy, like who looks like Mario, right? Like that's another stereotype. Of course, he's white too. There were Jewish. There were rabbi people, dude. Remember the rabbi?
I do remember those guys.
That guy too. So like, I get it. They tried to, you know, diversify the character base. I think all in good intention, but it's always under this present. The focus is to be funny, to find comedy in normalcy in life, but make it stupid. Make people make dumb decisions and make it stupid, make it funny, right?
Yeah.
Then Apu. But Apu specifically. Yes. The first time I heard a verse, I thought it was funny. But it gets old pretty quick. You can't just rely on an accent to carry a character every time, even though that was what the Hispanic bee was. But even the Hispanic bee, it's not like every time the Hispanic bee showed up, it's like hilarious. It's the Hispanic bee guy who does like a who speak Spanish, we don't understand. No, it's funny like maybe a few times, and then it's like, okay, well, when you're a one-dimensional character, you're a one-dimensional character, and that's it. But if you look at Apu, yeah, the accent was funny in the beginning, and then it kind of fades away. And then they developed him as a character. He becomes Homer's friend. You learn about Indian customs, even though Homer bastardizes it with like putting on an elephant mask and running around saying he's Ganesh, right? But we see Apu going through dates. He dates like different single women around town. You know, he ends up being in an arranged marriage, and yeah, he marries this beautiful brown girl. Do you remember that episode?
To be honest, I didn't really like watch The Simpsons like that.
I watched it. I grew up with that. Like that's all I had. I mean, I am older gen, but like that's all I really had in terms of like mature cartoon. I think mature cartoon. We didn't have Family Guy. You know, we didn't have what I don't know what people watch now. I think it's just Family Guy.
I guess the gen after that would be Family Guy. Family Guy, yeah.
Family Guy, American Dad, Futurama was after, and South Park was after. It just became more crude and crude, right? Like, just becomes worse and worse. But yeah, okay. So I watched a lot of Simpsons. I like Apu. I like him as a character. I rooted for him. Like I became a fan of his. I wasn't like there are certain characters where like I don't like him. He's a bad guy. I'm not rooting for him. Mr. Burns. I was not rooting for him. Not Superintendent. There was a Superintendent Chalmers, I think, and then there was like a Dean guy who was like always angry. Those were like, again, one-dimensional. They didn't take time to develop the character. It was almost just like he was a personality. But Apu, we got to know his family. We even got to see like him growing up. They have flashbacks, and yeah, man, like the only stereotype after that they developed him as a character was still that he was the owner of the Quickie Mart, of the convenience store. But he was always the smart one. Like he was intelligent, and
yeah, I guess when you phrase it like that, I could see why like there would be a passionate also outcry to keep him, you know.
Well, he'd been around for, as he said, 28 years. I didn't even know the show had been 28 years old, right? So I mean, he's part of that universe for me. Like I identify The Simpsons. Apu is like up there, top 10 characters for me, right? It has to be. And there's tons.
Who would you say is number one?
Homer. Homer, for sure. Homer's number one. Oh, there's another. Yeah, with Family Guy, it's like Stuart, right? Or Peter, or Stewie, or Peter, or Brian, or whatever. But yeah, Homer's number one for sure because he carries the show. Everything's always around him. I don't even put Bart. Like, you have to put, I guess, all 5 of them. But Ned's up there. You know, Ned's up there for sure. Apu's got to be like maybe even top 5, top 10. Because they took more time to develop him, you know. Yeah. Dr. Hibbert is always just the doctor. Jazz guy, I forget what his name is. Bleeding Gums Murphy. That's what the saxophone guy. And groundskeeper Willie. Barney the drunk, you know, all that stuff. Anyway, am I hurt that they took him out? No. Am I going to be pissed off and I'm going to be like, yo, man, they should bring him back? No. That's why I say I understand the hate. I understand what it looks like and then why people in the cancel culture would want to take him out.
Yeah.
But would it really make a difference? According to that,
probably not. Sorry to cut you off. No. Someone else is probably just gonna come up after this. Someone else is gonna say something like, "Oh, I don't like how Marge," because I just randomly thought of this. I don't like how Marge's hair is appropriating black women. Because a lot of people think like Marge's hair is an afro.
Right.
So yeah, you know, you never know. Like, I think
it's true.
It's just the times we're in right now. Like,
doesn't even make sense.
Bro, everyone's gonna get canceled, man. They just canceled Joe Rogan.
They did?
Yeah.
What'd he say?
He's out of here. Oh man, you haven't seen it?
Is that recent?
Yeah, man. They got him out of here, bro.
What did he say?
the N
Cole's
word
notes.
multiple times.
What? Why would he say that?
Well, okay, so
That doesn't sound like Joe Rogan.
what they did was someone made a compilation of all the times he said the N word over the
Okay.
course of like 12 or whatever years, right? But it was him saying it in like a I don't
Reference,
know,
like
yeah,
referencing.
in a reference to something, not like
Yeah.
him like calling someone, right?
Yeah.
But someone made a compilation of him just saying it back to back to back to back to back to back. It looks horrific. I was like, God damn, Joe, they got you? They got you in 4K? God damn. Yeah, man. I couldn't, you can't even defend it, yo. It's like, damn, bro.
But you can defend it though, because if all the cuts were in reference,
I mean,
I've said it in my
but
life. If you put anybody in that light, it's gonna look like that.
I mean, yeah, but like it just looks bad, man.
Do you believe it? Do you believe he's that guy?
I've listened to enough episodes to discern that he doesn't want, he wants everyone to be like equal rights. He's not racist.
He's a good dude. He tries, he means well.
So anything past what he's like said on his podcast, I can't vouch for it. But from what I've heard on his podcast, he seems to be like a stand-up dude, right?
Yeah.
That is not a good look though. Like, it's just bad, And I guess you think of like other people that are also in that like edgy news. Like I'm thinking of what's this dude's name? What the fuck is this guy's name? Sorry, am I allowed to curse on this?
Yeah.
The radio guy, the long Howard Stern.
Howard Stern.
Howard Stern. What's this guy's name on HBO? Bill Maher.
Yeah. Yeah. You do it to any of those guys.
Would someone be able to make a compilation like that for those guys though?
I bet you. Maybe that obviously on network you're not gonna ever even say it, even in reference.
Yeah. So it's a little
more
different.
Strict. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess that's the thing. They're on a network or whatever. Because he's with Sirius, right? Howard Stern. And Bill Maher's on like HBO.
Yeah. Whereas Joe's on his own. His own platform. It's his own platform too. Obviously, he can say whatever he wants. And anyone who knows him would know that he's not
on
actually...
Spotify now, though.
Oh, okay.
I think if we were still independent,
that could be a brain.
We might not have heard of this.
Right.
Yeah, because this all started when he started talking about the vaccination shit. Did you hear about this?
What happened?
Yeah, so he started talking about like all this vaccination shit, and then Neil Young, the artist, started to pull his music from Spotify. And then so did this other like really popular like classic artist, right? So a lot of people were like, yo, why is Joe Rogan spreading false vaccination information? So that's where this started.
Was Joe anti or pro? I don't know.
I don't even know the context. It was just like people were pissed off about some shit he said about vaccinations, so they started pulling their music off. And apparently, I guess like Neil Young, he actually had polio or some shit. And like he has a really like personal like a real life like story with like vaccinations and shit. So yeah, his catalog got pulled. Spotify started doing like damage control. Or no, actually Spotify didn't really do anything at first, and then this video came out. And then it was all bad, yo.
Okay, so Joe had an opinion which led to artists pulling out of Spotify their works.
Catalog, yep.
Interesting.
Yeah, Spotify started to lose money, and then he didn't make a statement or anything like that, and then the video came out, and then it was just like craziness. It was just craziness, yo. Then he made a statement. He was like, yo, I never meant to say that. Like, I would never say that in such a context. I was referencing something, blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
But I don't think any of this would happen if he was still just chilling on his iTunes podcast.
So I know it's just a theory, but you're kind of thinking that video is linked to his Spotify fiasco. Someone created that to get him out, or
I mean,
it's
maybe,
possible. Yeah.
I just thought of it when you mentioned that Howard Stern and Bill Maher are on networks, because we were like, yeah, Joe isn't on a network. Then I was like, wait, he's on Spotify now.
Yeah, but
So
it's
that's
still
like-
not. It's not like Spotify restricts his podcast. His podcast exists on its own.
Well,
and
they pulled
Spotify just
episodes.
chooses. Yeah. What do you mean?
They pulled like 140 something episodes off of Spotify of his like
Yeah.
show.
Which
You know,
makes
so
sense.
it's
I'm
like-
sure if he references anything in there about maybe even like, pro smoking stuff or drinking, or when he's like getting high on the cast, I don't think they probably have that on Spotify.
Oh no, like all the wild shit he talks about, like they've always left it in there.
Oh.
They specifically pulled this when all this shit came out about the vaccinations.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's like, yeah, man, the networks, show them networks, terms and conditions.
Okay. That's a good segue. That was a good tangent, I'd say. But like, okay, yeah, this brings us to cancel culture, I guess. I think I respect. I don't know if I'll even say appreciate, but I respect if it is genuine, like the underlying genuine effort of cancel culture. What I mean by that is, when you try to cancel the guy like Harvey Weinstein or Epstein or Cosby or anything Me Too movement involved, yes, I can see and respect and actually appreciate the efforts of cancel culture there. And then you go to Dave Chappelle and transgender community.
Yeah.
And then you apparently cancel culture is involved in that. But I think, I don't know, I'm pretty sure you're a Dave Chappelle fan. I'm a Dave Chappelle fan, and I don't see it.
Yep.
That's where I don't say that it's part of the cancel culture environment because people are trying to cancel Dave Chappelle, but I don't see the genuineness in that because I don't actually think they are listening to him, right?
Oh, they never do.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Oh, what?
So where I support cancel culture where it's appropriate and when it's like worthy, like it's deemed like appropriate and like logical, but I don't when I think it's a little far-fetched and unnecessary. Not even a little far-fetched or not unnecessary. It's wrong in terms of Dave Chappelle because I don't think his material is ever targeted in that manner. So I think it's false. Like the accusations are false with Dave Chappelle. Now we look at Apu. The subject. I see there's a little bit of warrant in there. Because if kids are being bullied in school and being called Apu, I've never observed this myself growing up. And if that stereotype has led to some sort of like discrimination to like any kind of like ill intent or like a hurtful action, then okay, then there's warrant there.
Yeah.
Taking Apu out, I think is drastic. You could change the character. You could change the context. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What I mean by that, okay, what I'll say is in the beginning, Apu was just the guy at the shelf in the store who like upheld like the security in his store, and all that was funny was the thank you come again with the accent, and that was it. That was his identity.
I definitely remember that phrase.
Right? Thank you come again. But when they started to actually develop his religion, develop his relationships, his I think there was something to do with like his like immigration status. Now he's becoming a real guy. Like he's becoming an actual character.
I'm just laughing because this whole time it's been a white dude saying all this shit.
Yeah. And you gotta be consistent with the way you created him. But But what I'm trying to say is they developed the subject matter with him beyond his accent, beyond his stereotypical profession. They developed him as a character. So taking him out of the show, I think, was a mistake, because he went from like a mascot to laugh at to like a hero figure. Like, as I said, I was rooting for him. So to remove him, I think I understand the
intent.
The intent, yeah, good word. I understand the intent, but I think it was really ill-informed. Like, it would have been better to keep him, as he is like the star brown guy on the show, and empower him. Doesn't that make more sense? Even more, though they've already empowered him, they should have kept him and continue to empower him. I don't understand. Like, that's the dumb part for me.
Yeah, I mean, like, what I'll say is, to your point about, I could see how, you know, if kids are being bullied and called a poo, then yeah, like, that's doing harm, right? Like, my thing is always like, is the comedy doing harm? You know, a lot of I guess the transgender community's gripe with Dave Chappelle, as you often hear, his comedies will do harm. Well, it's like, okay, is someone going to listen to Dave Chappelle's comedy and want to hurt transgender people, or understand transgender people a bit more, or neither, and just
or
be
neither
neutral, you know?
Yeah,
it's like,
oblivious.
Which is more gonna happen? So that's why it's like, for me, the outrage, I mean, it could be put somewhere else. As far as the Apu thing, you know, as a person of color, as a black person, there is a blackface. That's a very real thing. You know, characters have been portrayed in white media that are meant to mock people of color, right? So I definitely get that sentiment, you know. So that's why I also empathize with that side of things. And again, I empathize with, you know, he started out as one thing, but now he's like growing into this like full-rounded character. Why are you just gonna take him out of the show? You know, so it's multi-layered. It's multi-layered, man. But yeah.
My question for you then, so we saw both ends, right? The guy complaining and then the guy defending after. It only took like 2 sentences to defend him. He's the American dream.
Yeah.
Also, person of color.
Yeah.
Granted, he's a different generation. You know that the second comedian's younger, so he got to see Apu in his like glory days, whereas the older guy, 28 years, he got to see Apu in his like early years. So I see why one guy's gonna have one side and the other guy's gonna have the other. But when you make a documentary in order to cancel the character, I mean, you would think there has to be some sort of research here where you're going to see the development of the character. I bet you they probably never referenced the strengths of Apu as a character. I haven't seen the documentary. I'll watch it. I think I might as well. I think it's worth a watch. I'm curious to watch it.
I watch that too.
And even the voice, him being voiced by the same guy, at this point, I don't think. Yeah, it's part of his identifying character, but at this point, to change his voice, I don't think is necessary. To keep it with the same voice actor, I think makes more sense to me. If it's really offending people,
Have they done that for a major character that you can think of, like a major?
But they changed the voice based on the color of that person.
Yeah.
I don't know. I know Bart Simpson was always voiced by a female, but that's just because he's a kid, right?
Huh. Yeah. That's interesting.
A lot of anime male young primary characters are voiced by females.
I knew that for the Boondocks. I think Riley.
Oh yeah.
Or whatever is voiced by this black actress. That's pretty cool, man. I want to do some voice acting. I think that'd be dope.
Yeah, you could. So here's the thing, Boondocks. That show.
Yeah.
obviously it has a very hip hop influence, almost like hood influence. I'm gonna use the word hood. You think it's you think it's positive? You think is it stereotypical? You know, versus a Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, who attempts to take the same identity of that, family and put them in a very different environment. Like, what's the sentiment there?
What I'll say is, like, the Boondocks for me. Now, I've never watched the show, but I've seen like scenes of it, right? And you see, little excerpts describing what, episodes were about and stuff like that. So the general sentiment I got was, it was a show that was satirical, but also like, and there is education and satire. It was satirical, but it was also like, like a political statement, like a social statement, on just like the status of things and, Black culture, etc., etc. So I never, got any sort of like offense from it or anything like that. Like it was always regarded amongst like people that I knew and that I followed as like a dope ass like cult classic type cartoon show,
Mm-hmm.
Because I never watched it, I never got into it. Well, I never like got into the the zeitgeist of it. But yeah, man, it was like there was something cultish about the Boondocks.
Yeah, there's like it's like a cult favorite. Yeah, it's a good way to reference it. I never watched it particularly. I probably saw a couple half episodes when I got exposed to it, like flipping through channels or whatever at the time. But all I know is, I guess being a person of, not being a Black person, but I guess I still am a person of color, it wasn't something that appealed to me to want to relate to. And I think that's the purpose of the show. Shows like that specifically, right? It's like they wanted to create a piece of entertainment media that relates to an existing lifestyle, right? Because the more you can relate to something in a show, the more you'll watch it. Fresh Prince wasn't really that. I guess it was taking like an extreme Will Smith as a kid come from Philly, West Philly, and then he's put in Bel-Air. So the relating aspect was it Will, and then the foreign aspect of is this environment that's like foreign to him is Bel-Air. Like, what was the appeal there, you think, that grew Fresh Prince versus Family Matters? Both families of people of color, but one had a very different, kind of like rise to famdom versus Family Matters, which was still an awesome show. Urkel, man, and
yeah.
So
I guess like the difference was there's only one Will Smith.
Okay, Cosby. Cosby too.
Yeah, even still, like Cosby, like Will's star power is actually kind of nuts. Like Will is like a star of stars.
Yeah.
He's like a star's star. Like there was a point in time where like literally every movie he was dropping was like a blockbuster, you know? So that aside,
anomaly. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. He was definitely like an anomaly, man.
Yeah.
But I think it was the comedy aspect, even though Family Matters had comedy too, but it was the comedy aspect. It was the fact that I think Quincy Jones was also behind a lot of that shit. So there was like this also like entertainment factor too that tied in, because Wills was also like a hip hop star. Jazzy was a DJ.
Yeah.
So like they already had kind of ties to the entertainment world. So I think, I don't know if necessarily like Steven Urkel and like Marla and what was the dad's name? They necessarily were like tied in like that. Like they were strictly like family programming, you know, blah blah blah. Where I feel like Fresh Prince was like culture, you know, L.A. You know, it was just kind of like bigger than life. And then you have fucking Will Smith. So, yeah, I think that was it.
It made me think just now of like TV sets of like the popular shows. You know, when you think Friends, even Cosby, Family Matters, Fresh Prince, the fixed sets are always indoors, right?
Yeah.
So, story base in all of these shows, a lot of it is there's a term for it, exposition. You know that in like film, where basically a character, sometimes they will introduce a character in a movie strictly for exposition, for whose sole purpose is to expose to the audience the storyline, so you understand what's going on, right?
Okay.
It's all done through dialogue. So a lot of times when like even like you watch Tenet,
yep,
you know, a lot of when anytime the protagonist goes off and talks to like the brown lady, she just reveals all these facts that none of us would have known unless she told us. That's exposition, right? Like it's like now we know the plot because this person explained it to us. And when I think of sitcom, which takes place in an indoor set all the time, almost all the time, any plot in a story is always through exposition. Like they tell us what's going on. They have to tell us through dialogue because we can't see things happening to them. They always have to tell us what's happening in terms of what's going on with work, where they have to go, relationship wise or whatever. And when I started to compare Family Matters, Fresh Prince, and Cosby Show, and I see more similarities between Fresh Prince and Cosby's versus Family Matters, right? Because Family Matters, I'd say, you know, I think his name was Al? Carl was the dad. Carl Winslow and Harriet. Harriet was the wife. I don't even know what Harriet did actually for a job, but Carl was a police officer or police chief.
Something like that, yeah.
You would generally think, they had a decent sized house, but they were not as wealthy, nowhere near as wealthy as Huxtable, because they were both doctors.
Oh, okay.
And Uncle Phil was a judge. Like, they had money. They had a mansion. Yo. And with Huxtable, with Cosby, I think it's New York. So they had like a decent sized place in New York City. So like that's money too. That's money too. Whereas Carl, I think it was like in the suburbs of Chicago, like it's just outside Chicago or whatever that was. So we're like digging deep into like analysis here now, but all of them I think were great shows. They all had the same kind of values, trying to teach like, you know, family centric things. Yeah. But in terms of the objective, do you think personally for you, did Fresh Prince give you like a hope, like of like and something to aspire to? Like, did he kind of give that off? Like, that's the kind of life I want to live, and that's where I want to go. Uncle Phil, Cosby's, Huxtable's, you know? Or did Family Matters ever inspire to be like, man, I want to be like Steve Urkel? Doubt it. I don't think anybody wanted to be like Steve Urkel.
No, because he never got Darla. I was like, yo, look at this lame ass.
Well, he did when he became Stefan.
Yeah, I actually just watched a couple of those scenes on YouTube like last week. But to answer your question, I think anytime I just watched The Fresh Prince, I was just so like caught up in just like the storyline and the wonder of everything. I never really like saw myself like or like it never really necessarily like gave me hope or whatever.
Okay.
I was just too caught up in just like how amazing it was. You know, it's like when I would watch it as a younger kid. Yeah. So, but
you never really projected yourself into their lives, right? Is that what we do? I don't even know if I do.
You know what? I would in like situations where like Will would maybe be getting like scolded by Uncle Phil and stuff like that.
Okay.
I would be able to relate to those scenes because it's like I would empathize why Will did something, but then I would know, oh man, Uncle Phil's gonna like kick his ass, yo, like shit, you know.
Yeah.
So like scenes like that, I guess I would relate more to that type of stuff.
Yeah.
But you know, I wouldn't say it like gave me like a hope, I guess.
Okay.
But I just had a horrible thought because like I just remember like Uncle Phil like died, right? So I never grew up on the Cosbys as much as I grew up on Fresh Prince.
Mm-hmm.
And I would be absolutely heartbroken if I found out Uncle Phil was drugging and raping women.
Yeah. Oh shoot. Yeah.
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 Like that just, I was just able to just like parallel that, and I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, that'd be messed up.
That'd be fucked up.
Like the biggest drama you would get from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air was the Vivian on Viv, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So that drama
Yeah.
outside the show, but I mean that wasn't even really drama. That was, and they kind of hashed it out, I guess, in the
in the
special,
reunion?
in the reunion special.
Oh man, I haven't watched that. I gotta watch that.
What?
I watched
Dude,
the scene.
get on that, man.
I gotta watch that, man. I think Will's fucking whatever the fuck he did with his beard and shit was throwing me off. I didn't want to see it. I hated that cut.
I don't remember what he looked like, but it was
Oh,
great.
man.
It was nostalgia
Oh, no, I'm gonna watch
to
it.
the max. It was great. It was great.
I'm gonna.
I
do
cried.
that. I'm gonna
I
do the
cried a
Harry
number of
Potter
times
one.
watching that, dude. Oh, I haven't watched the Harry
good.
Potter one, but yeah. The Friends one I watched too, but I don't know. I didn't really like feel it as much as I felt from the Fresh Prince one.
Yeah, I just watched the Will thing you told me to like the.
That Shape
20
of
pounds
My
in
Life?
20 weeks. Yeah.
The whole thing, all 6 episodes or whatever. What'd you think, man?
I empathize with them, man, because it's like, yo, you're doing all this shit for so long, but you're still just performing, and it's like, it's coming from somewhere like deep, you know?
Yeah.
Like this authoritarian father figure, just like instilling this sense of like, oh, I can't fail in you, you know?
It was really well produced, like
Yeah.
the way they put
Oh,
it all
yeah.
together. The cliffhangers at the end of every episode, where they bring the dad at the very end of one of the
Yeah.
episodes. He's like, "Go sit down. Hi, whatever." And
That was, like,
you're like, "Oh,
posthumous,
dad!" Huh?
That was posthumous, right?
Who?
Because his dad dead. His dad is dead, right?
Nah.
Is that-
Yes. Now. Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So they used like old video of him.
Yes.
For that.
Somehow
Yeah.
they interviewed that already, so that was good. My favorite one was when he reads the book to his kids. That was the most
Yeah, I like
emotional
that.
one, right?
I was like, oh, damn, I'm not crying, you're crying.
Pulls on the heartstrings. But if you think about it, it's genius because it's a basically 5 or 6 part episode show to promote his book. And then at
Yeah.
the very end, it's just buy my book, you know, to
marketing.
basically read about everything that you just saw in this video, in this in this special video series.
He was literally reading us the book in the series.
Exactly. But
Showed
it's
us all the
genius.
chapters.
It's genius, man. It's
It
genius.
is. It is, man.
So
Yo,
now whenever
he-
you read the part about his kids, you're gonna remember that table scene where he's reading it to his kids, and you're gonna have that emotional reaction. Same thing too. So smart.
has he won an Oscar before?
Ooh, good question. I think so.
don't
From
think
like
so.
Ali, maybe.
Oh,
Will Smith Oscar win. What's the see by Will Smith nominee? He won. Oh, that's American Music Awards. AMA, Grammy, MTV,
nominated twice, but yet to win.
Emmy, Academy. Yes,
Huh.
so he's been nominated for Ali, Pursuit of Happiness, and King Richard. I don't think he's gonna win for King Richard.
Nah, probably not. They're probably
So
well,
no, he's never won an Oscar.
Damn, it's crazy, yo. Yeah,
Who's
he's very versatile, man.
Is he though?
I think so, man. Like, cause like, what's it called? Bad Boys, completely different from 7 Pounds. you know,
Yeah, but
completely different from
I'll
like
agree.
Men in
I'll
Black.
agree with that. I'll agree with Okay, so Bad Boys, Men in Black, Independence Day versus
Independence Day,
Pursuit of Happiness,
Pursuit of, yeah,
Seven
man, like he's got
Pounds,
range.
Ali,
Ali put on the weight, he's boxing.
but he's always Will
Fucking
Smith. You know what I mean? You don't. I never really see him transform. He's always Will Smith to me. You know, like he's an amazing actor, and he'll carry the role, and he can exhibit all the emotions you need to exhibit for that role. But he's always Will Smith to me. Do you know what I mean?
I guess I could see that. I guess I could see that.
Versus
like a Gary Oldman.
Gary Oldman. Which one is that guy? I know
Fucking Sirius Black.
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck?
He transforms, man. Yeah.
Dude, that guy, crazy.
Oh my god, I just looked up his other movies, dude. Like,
dude.
Oh my god, he's everywhere. Dude. What?
That motherfucker. I don't even think we've seen his real face.
I'm looking now. There's movies I do recognize. I'm like, oh my god, I did not know that was him. He's like a vampire. Oh, dude, he was the bad guy in Fifth Element? Dude!
Yeah, man.
Oh my god! That's sick.
Do you remember Leon the Professional? Do you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was the bad guy in that too.
Oh, snap. Yo, yeah. Natalie Portman, right? And the French dude. Yeah.
He was in, I don't know if you watch movies like this. He was in Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy. Like, bro.
Oh, wow, you are a fan. Damn.
Dog, like, yeah, man. But
I loved him as like Chief Commissioner Gordon, you know, too.
Commissioner Gordon.
Commissioner Gordon, too. Like,
oh my god,
he's
man.
dope. And you know, people like big up Daniel Day-Lewis or whatever, but again, really great actor, carries the role. But every time I see him, he's Daniel Day-Lewis. Tom Cruise, great actor, he can do all these roles, but every time I see him, he's Tom Cruise. He doesn't transform like, I'd say, Christian Bale, maybe a little bit. But now he's too star now to be. He doesn't transform as much because he's too much of a star now.
I think that's what it is.
Once he becomes too big of a star,
big, yeah.
Then the name outweighs the character, outperforms the character. I see it for sure.
Like
Yes.
like Leonardo DiCaprio, like it's the same thing, but like his roles are still amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still Leo. You know?
Denzel. Actually, Denzel's always Denzel.
Yeah, you know. So I mean, I do see your point though. Like more so with Will, because it's like it's Will, and Will is a personality.
And we grew up with him too. Like we knew him changing, transforming, maturing. Like that makes sense.
Yeah.
Johnny Depp is another one too. When early Johnny Depp and early DiCaprio, man, before Titanic DiCaprio, or up until Titanic DiCaprio. I don't know. Have you seen his work before Titanic, man?
Nah. Who's
exactly.
Eating Gilbert Grape?
What's Eating Gilbert Grape? Romeo and Juliet. I
think I saw Romeo and Juliet.
Those were the big ones. Before his Titanic made him a star, and then after that is when he started pursuing bigger acting type of roles or whatever. Creven, what's up, man? Thank you for coming out.
Let me ask you this
podcast. But yeah.
Let me ask you this: what about Keanu Reeves?
So again, yeah, man, Matrix defined him. Then forever he's Matrix, and after that was what's the one? John Wick. Okay, but before Matrix, he was Bill and Ted, Bogus Journey. He was Speed, the bus guy on the thing. He was more like, before we know who he is, we appreciate his acting more, like his roles more. You know what I mean? So that's another one too. But again, he's kind of typecast too. Like Keanu's a little typecast.
Did you see him in Constantine?
Yep. This thing.
Yeah, I like that movie.
Yeah, me too.
A lot of people say like the reason like so many people like Keanu is because he's like neutral all the time. Like so people see themselves in him somehow.
Oh, yes, you can insert yourself in like kind of like if I were in that situation, I can, you know. And yeah, he's a bit mute. He's not overly expressive.
Yeah.
He talks like this all the time and really slow.
That's a really good impression.
You have
actually.
time to really take in what you would think in that situation.
That's a pretty good impression.
So yeah, like, yeah, star power is kind of detrimental to appreciate, you know, someone's craft. Love Will Smith, don't get me wrong, love that guy, but he's always Will Smith, regardless of what I see. Concussion, you know, like all the other serious movies too.
Tell the truth. I was like, all right, Will, I see you.
Yeah, when you're a star first, that's unfortunate.
Angelina Jolie, she's like super huge now. Like, it's like you put her in a movie, it's like, that's Angelina Jolie.
It's like, oh, so that's her
In
movie?
Eternal.
You're like, yeah. Oh yeah, you're like, I can't take her seriously. Like, oh, does she have like, you know, demons in her head because, you know, like she had like issues. Like she was having, you
like
saw
in real
Eternals,
life?
right? No, Eternals.
Oh, okay.
Where he was like having dreams, and then like she was like gonna kill her.
Mad weary.
Yeah, she was trying to like hurt her
Her boy.
her friends, and we're like, yeah, but you're Angelina Jolie. You're just playing someone who has powers, who's going crazy.
Yeah.
You're not actually going crazy. Oh, not like, ooh, that's a great one, Charlize Theron. I think, you know Charlize Theron?
Mm-hmm. I'm thinking
So,
about her roles.
Monster, even when she's like a superhero with like badass powers, or when
she's hot.
And she's hot. She was also
She's
in that.
hot.
She's also in that other one where she was Katie Couric, I think.
She's South African.
She's South African?
Dude, she's South African.
Dude, I had a huge like, I still have a huge crush on her. Anyway,
She's hot.
she
Yeah.
transforms really well. Even though you will always recognize that it's her, I'll believe whatever character she's playing. Like, I'll believe she is the character she's playing. She's like a Gary Oldman to me too. I'd say she's equivalent to that. She'll
Yeah.
transform to the character, and I'll believe whatever character she's playing is actually her. It's nuts.
Harley Quinn. Can't unsee her.
Margot Robbie?
Yeah. Can't unsee Margot Robbie.
That's true.
You know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's too pretty.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, where were we going with this? So, Boondocks to Fresh Prince, Family Matters to now movies. I like it. I like the tangents we're taking. So thematic is about movies and actors. Nah, Creven, this one's about should Apu stay or go from The Simpsons. Sorry, it's one of the. And we just went off on like this tangent about performing and like roles in shows, and like is the purpose for us to associate and like to relate to shows. So back to The Simpsons. Okay, let's go back to The Simpsons. I stand by to say that they shouldn't have taken him out. I understand why they take him out. I'm not completely bothered that they took him out. Again, I'm too old now. I don't really watch the show. I haven't watched the show in years. And like, I don't think anyone's really fighting to keep him in, but I think it was a mistake. They could have done a lot stronger, because if you look at the young comedian who has taken the Apu role and to look at him as a hero, as the American dream, even if it's part of his comedic bit, look at the positivity that comes from that. From like where they took Apu from the beginning to being hated to now being a hero figure in the show. Where like if Apu and Homer were in an argument, I'm siding with Apu. You know what I mean? Like even though I know Homer is the main character, I know Apu is smart, and I know Apu has values. You know, if it was even Apu versus Ned, I'd probably go with Apu. Apu is like the most morally sound character on the show. I don't think he's ever really done anything like. I mean, yeah, when he became a playboy and he was like dating around, yeah, he kind of like, he's like, he thought it was the shit. But who wouldn't? You know, if you're like dating a bunch of women who like you, he became a player a little bit there, but for the most part, man, like his moral compass is solid all the time, and I love that. Like he's probably my hero of the show too. So to take him out because of some people like feeling all hurt, yeah, bitching about his how he was created, you don't see the actual value of where they brought him, of where they took him. That's unfortunate.
What's a bitching happening these days?
Cancel culture. That was another thing we talked about too. Yeah.
Everybody's bitching about something.
Do you see anything to... Okay, well, here's the thing. Okay, besides The Simpsons, okay, you watch Family Guy. Did you watch South Park?
I did. I mean, I saw a couple episodes. I guess I found South Park's humor like a little crude.
I
think it was just... I think it was just like the tone of... What's the main character's voice again?
Kenny? Or the guy... Cartman.
Kenny Cartman, who I was like...
Oh my god, yeah.
I
Cartman.
just couldn't watch that shit. Yeah, I was like, bro, like, what the fuck?
Can't relate to the show, right? Yeah.
These paper motherfuckers.
Did you watch Ren and Stimpy? Or Beavis and Butthead? Probably not. Those are too old.
Nah, those are like... I mean, I knew of them, but I just didn't watch them.
What about like Animaniacs?
Animaniacs I watched.
That one... Did they even have race in there? I don't think so, right? When you make a show with animals, just like Looney Tunes...
Yeah, it's not the same.
You generally don't associate now... Less with race.
Yeah, but Family Guy definitely. I mean...
Oh man, yeah.
They
the whole circle of friends there, yeah.
Hey, Peter.
That's a good one, Cleveland too.
Thanks, man. Hey, Peter.
So do you find Cleveland versus
Brian.
Brian.
Cleveland is good.
Brian. But yeah, Cleveland versus any of the black characters from The Simpsons, or even the Boondocks, or Fat Albert. You ever watch like the Fat? Is Fat Albert a bad stereotype?
Never watched Fat Albert, but
yeah, me neither. I heard of him.
That. So, I'm assuming shows like that and like the Proud Family were like accepted and celebrated in the black community. Because I watched the Proud Family like on Disney. Like I don't remember a lot of it, but it was like cool. It wasn't like anything, you know.
I looked that up. What is Proud Family? Oh,
I think they're actually making a remake of it right now, or like an adult version of it right now, and a lot of people are excited about that.
Oh wow. Okay, yeah. The animation looks more like the newer stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like post Powderpuff Girls, you know, and Power Rangers. Oh my God, Power Rangers.
Yo, fucking Powerpuff Girls. Yo, tell me why the Powerpuff Girls used to fuck up Mojo Jojo. What the fuck? Yo, they would beat this monkey within an inch of his life. Why am I seeing his brain?
Dude, I don't know. I've never watched it.
Yo, he would have... Yo, dude. Dog. These three superpowered little children would fuck this monkey up, yo.
Like JoJo's the bad... Oh, this dude. Oh, yeah.
He would have bruises, broken shit. His brain would be popping out of his head. Oh, my God.
Dude, there's a... New Powerpuff Girls Mojo Jojo Protection Program, Cartoon Network. Oh, this must be made. This is... Dude, let me show this as an example.
Oh, let me watch this. Hold on, I'm turning on the stream.
It's just a photo, but it's exactly what you just described. JoJo's on the ground, pummeled with his brain coming out of his head.
Dog, they used to go crazy on this monkey.
That's funny.
I mean, yeah, he wants to
Three crazy white chicks, man. I guess the green one's Asian.
Look at this shit.
Who's the monkey, though? Yeah, I never watched the show. So
X.
I don't know.
Cartoon Network was bugging, yo. This show was kind of scary. There was a character on there called Him. This motherfucker looked like the devil.
Powerpuff Girls?
Yeah, he was like...
Him.
He was like... I don't know if it was a he or a she, actually.
Oh.
It was like a lobster. He had like claws and shit.
Yeah, the face is like a guy, the legs are like a girl, the body is He's kind of dressed like a Santa Claus. That's weird. Never watched the show, but yeah, you're right. He's got claws like lobsters. Weird.
Yeah, man.
Okay. So,
Apu.
Not even just Apu, but has there ever been a show where you're like, man, you know, that character shouldn't exist and should not be continued? No, Creedman, he's not streaming.
Nah. To be honest, I never really had any issues with like. It was more. I'll tell you what. Like I would get like, feel little twinges. You know, in my spine is when like comics would make like certain black jokes. You know, there's some ones that are like hilarious, like Bill Burr's comedy about black people in lotion. Hilarious.
Okay. Yeah.
Like you just hear like some jokes that's kind of like, all right, cool. Just nod your head real slow.
Yeah.
Just wait till it passes, but it's like that was kind of uncomfortable. But all right, whatever.
Do you think he has the green pass to make those jokes about black people because he has a black girlfriend?
Bill Burr. I mean, even if he didn't have a black girlfriend,
it'll be okay.
The jokes are fine because it's like,
it's true.
It's just like so funny, and the funny just like covers everything. Like there is a little bit of like stereotype in it, but it's like that's what makes it so funny.
Yeah, accuracy makes things funny. Like,
yeah,
the more relatable something is, but you put it in a very exaggerated light, yeah, you're gonna laugh at it. Like, that makes sense.
Do you know what the lotion joke was?
What, like basketball knees?
No, he was talking about how like, you know, like white people like, they don't age great or something like that, and you know you hear that phrase "black don't crack," and he's like, I was looking at my girlfriend once, and she just starts taking this lotion and just like putting it all over herself, and I'm like, what are you doing? She's like, yeah, you know, I gotta, you know, make sure my body's moisturized, and he's like, I never thought of that. I only thought you're supposed to use lotion. Why do you think your dick's so smooth? I fucked up the joke, but yo, the way he delivered it.
Yeah, I do remember that bit. Yeah, I remember
oh
that
my
bit.
god,
dude! The very first time lotion was kind of was introduced to me outside of like the home, you know, because at home is like, oh, you got like dry skin, use lotion, but I use it very sparingly. I don't use lotion a lot at all. I don't even remember the last time I did. Okay, maybe on my trip because cold weather, snowboarding, I had to put lotion on my hands because they were cracking up. Like my cuticles were like bleeding and shit. But the very first time lotion was introduced outside of my home was after a basketball tryout in the change room when all the black guys, it's just black guys, asking for lotion from each other. Yo, anybody got lotion? Yo, anybody got lotion? And it was like, what are they? What for? I thought it was maybe for the knees or the elbows, you know, but nah, dude, they were all asking for lotion, and I was like, I don't get it. I don't understand.
That's so funny. See, stuff like that, it's just like, unless you're exposed to it, you wouldn't know. Like that sort of ignorance is completely fine with me.
Yeah, man, I don't know.
It's just like, yo, you're not gonna fucking know shit about every race and culture. Like, it's impossible. That's fine. Just don't hate them because of it. You know, like fuck. It's literally that simple.
So okay, you can't even think of any other. See, like, I can't think of any other character where they became focus of a documentary to cancel. Like, I can't. Actual people like Epstein. There was a freaking documentary on Epstein. There's a documentary on all the killers, so all the serial killers, right? And now you're gonna put Apu in that light. You're gonna put Apu as one of the guys who gets canceled from a special. Man, I don't know.
Bruh, I don't like where we're headed, man. Censorship way.
I understand the creation of a new show today has a lot more barriers to kind of like to break, like maybe not break through, but they have a lot more hurdles to like to pay attention to. But existing shows, it makes more sense for me to see existing shows adapting and adjusting to current times and current climate, but not like just straight up cancel the show, cancel somebody. You know, like you got to give opportunities for people to improve.
Of course.
No, change, maybe, change, but improve for sure. Like, give them a chance.
Everyone deserves a chance to do that, a second chance. Like, fuck.
28 years. Letting go for 28 years. I bet you that guy stopped watching the show after 5, maybe 10. You know what I mean?
Years old?
No, of the show. Yeah, 10 years, 5 years of 10 years of the show.
Oh, okay.
When Apu hadn't grown yet. And it's like, you know what? I have no hope for Apu. I hate this guy. I don't want to watch this guy anymore. You know, versus the guy, the other comedian who watched the later years of Apu after 10, 15 years. Character development, becomes a fan, starts putting him as a hero.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Like, even his name, I don't even think it exists. Like, no brown person's
Apu?
called Apu, and you know, his last name. I forget.
Or, I mean, well, not in full. It might be like, because I know there's like a Anusha, like names like that. So it might be like short. Apu something something. Oh,
Nahasamita Petalan. Let me see. Name.
That's his last name?
His last name is Nahasapima Petalan. It's a morphophonological
Peloton?
blend of the name Pahasadi Nepetilan, the full name of a schoolmate of Simpsons writer Jeff Martin. Oh, so they did kind of stem Nahasapima Peloton. Petalan. So the guy, the writer, Jeff Martin, had a schoolmate classmate whose name was Pahasadi Napetalan. So he put her whole name as the last name for Apu.
Oh, that's sweet.
Is Apu Indian or Bengali?
I wonder if she gave him the cheeks. Yo, I'll put your name in my show.
Is Apu
Put your name in my show, yo. Oh my god. You did? You know what's funny? The first time I really started seeing accents in comedy was Russell Peters.
Yeah.
Russell Peters was definitely heavy on the accent stuff. That's when I really started to like see that in like comedy.
In comedy. You're right, man.
Yeah.
Creven, I don't know what you're referring to with the octopus thing there, but that's cool. I will say in grade 9, dude, it was the first time I ever saw Russell Peters. He came to our school and he did a special in our gym. There were two other comedians who weren't very funny. But then he was the closing act. And he just did brown accents, actually. He didn't even do the other accents. He just did brown accent. And everyone erupted in that gym. Like, it was hilarious. But of course, I look back at those bits now and I'm like, it's like I'm used to that now. Like the joke is old for me. Like I can't find the accent funny like that anymore. It has to be intelligent comedy now, you know?
I guess would you call that like not low hanging fruit, but like easier? Like doing accents and stuff like that. And impressions.
I just don't think it'll last as long in today's like comedic world. Like it's not going to have lasting power now.
Today's comedic world, that's a phrase in and of itself, yo.
It's like
fucking bruh.
It's so different.
Bruh. Can't say shit.
Oh, but you can though, because they still do. It's just there's reactions now. What I'm trying to say is like what people found funny before were like one-liners. You could just make one with a one-liner. But now it's because, as you're right, comedy is reflective of news, right? So if the crazier news gets, the crazier the topic of comedy, the topics of comedy will be. Like, look at Louis C.K. talking about him being canceled, and then you got Dave Chappelle with transgender. The brown guy that we just who was like for Apu. I watched that 20-minute thing he had on YouTube. It was him. He was talking about white privilege the whole time, pretty much. And like, is there any sort of brown privilege? His whole bit was based on like racial inequality. It was funny, but at this point, yeah, it got old for me pretty quick. I'm like, I want to learn. I want to hear about something else. Like, I don't just want to hear you bitch about inequality, even though it's funny, you know.
Yeah, I feel that.
I think that it was all about the environment.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Comedy in like 20 years is gonna be some fucking bullshit.
People are gonna be talking about surrogates, metaverse, and like
lame shit, yo.
Climate change.
I remember, like,
electric cars.
Like, when is the last time you've watched like comedy special and actually like been like doubled over laughing? I can
doubled
remember,
over?
Like you like were shitting your pants, yo.
No. Like Dave Chappelle's like good stuff. I'll laugh out loud, but no, I'm not like, oh my god, I can't breathe. You know, I think with maturity you lose that, because when I was a kid and I didn't know better, yeah, I lost my breath. I couldn't breathe for some of the things I was laughing at, for sure. Even stupid stuff that would happen in school. Like, I think it's hilarious.
Okay, but for a comedy special, not like in recent history. Or
doubled over? No, I can't think of one.
Yeah. The one for me, I was watching this with my boy too, which is probably why like shit is just funnier when you're around other people.
Yeah.
What is about that?
You feed off that energy.
What is about that? Yeah, I guess so. What is about that and violence too? Like inciting.
Groupthink?
Violence. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was Kevin Hart's special where he was talking about, yo, my number one fear are a bum's hands. You hear that shit?
I think I've heard that bit, but yeah.
No, son. Because this was the most random thing ever. He's like, yo, my worst fear are a bum's hand. Y'all looking at me like I'm crazy? Leave the show right now. Go outside. Walk outside. Let a bum come up to you and touch you on the lips. Bet you go home and kill yourself. I was like, what? Who thinks of this? He's like, yeah, man. Bum come up to me, hey man, give me some money. Like, what? I said, man, give me some fucking
Dude, that's the same thing you referenced in King Cardin, dude. That's when I got introduced to you, man. Yes. I thought you were hilarious then too.
That was it for me, yo.
Nah, for me,
the funniest shit I've ever heard.
Okay, the last time I can remember myself laughing like a lot. I don't know if I was keeled over, but because I've also watched this particular bit set numerous times, so I'll go to the very first time I watched the set was Def Jam Dave Chappelle. Was like the crack baby. Like, it was the whole set though. Like, the whole set was funny to me. Talks about like driving with his white friend and being stopped by the cops, and then going in. He was in a limo and he's going through the projects, and he sees like the baby selling weed on the corner, you know, and there's he had crack jokes in there too.
Was that Killing Me Softly, or was that a Def Jam special?
Killing Me, it was not Killing Me Softly was like way later in his career. Oh, so Def Jam was when he was skinny. He was skinny. He was wearing like really baggy denim like jacket and pants, and he had like a yellow t-shirt. It's a Def Jam special. It's old, man. Yeah, you gotta watch it. I'll link it in the...
But he has said that joke before. I've heard that somewhere else.
Def Jam.
Hey, baby.
Yeah. Huh. You probably saw it in clips.
No, this was like in part of like a long special.
It was a part. Yeah, it was a full set. I'm just Apparently, he's been on Def Jam numerous times.
This is Def Comedy Jam?
Yeah, Def
Or-
Comedy Jam. Def Comedy Jam. I'm trying to find the outfit.
Oh, is
that
this the one with like Martin Lawrence as the host?
I don't know, dude. I don't remember.
Huh.
I'll YouTube it, and once I see his outfit, I'll just link it.
Alright.
So, classic Dave Chappelle.
What do you think the funniest comedian is top 3 to you?
Oh, it is Killing Them Softly, dude. That's year 2000.
Hey,
Whoa.
baby.
But this one too. What is this?
There's another one too. Yeah, there's 2 of them that he put
He's
out.
wearing denim and a yellow T-shirt. Like, this is For What It's Worth. That's
Yeah,
another
that's
one too.
another one. Yeah.
For What It's Worth and Killing Them Softly. Maybe I'm mixing them up in my head.
Yo, that's crazy. He dropped those 2. Went to do the Chappelle show, disappeared, then just started hitting us on Netflix. Boom, 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 and they were all hilarious.
Well, yeah, he needed to come back. Yeah.
Like,
Make up
yo,
for the 50
high
million.
volume. Huh. Crazy.
Anywho, any final thoughts, man?
Well, I'm concerned about the state of free speech, and just the what do I call it? Everything just seems like anything's up for grabs right now, you know? Like, you have to be just very careful with how you maneuver. Like, you never know what's going to be considered offensive to what party this day, the next day. It's just, I'm concerned like we're just going to get to because, okay, this is my thing. When you read these books about like dystopian futures and like crazy authoritarian, you know, societies in the future and stuff like that, it's like, how do they get there? It's not like overnight, right? It's like, yo, it's gradual shit. And I was talking to my boy about this yesterday. And I guess I'll tie this in with the Apu thing shortly. It's just like we've already low key, we've already been like put into a trial for, you know, keeping us in our homes and denying services to certain groups in society. Like right now, we just kind of went through like a live trial of that. Mm-hmm. You know, it was kind of like, you know, because of COVID or whatever. But if someone was outside looking in, gathering data, like just someone, you know, if aliens were gathering data right now, they would have been like, oh, subjects, you know, tolerated experiment fairly well. And then they could incrementally do some more fucked up shit. So I'm thinking like there's a parallel with this. Soon, like I said, it's not gonna finish with Apu. Someone's gonna get offended with Stewie soon. Some animal rights motherfucker's gonna get upset with Brian and all the violence and like, bro, we're gonna get to a point where, like, you know. So that's my only concern. So creatives right now, just be creative, use your creative liberties, and really try to express yourself and try not to harm anybody in the process.
Well, do you see cancel culture as a phase, or is it a movement that's going to continue to grow?
I don't think it's going to stop, bro.
It won't stop, but is it really going to get to a level of supremacy?
I think so. Okay.
But people are sick of it, though. We make fun of Karen now. We make fun of cancel culture now.
Yeah, but like, I feel like it's gonna evolve, right? Like when you mentioned the Harvey Weinstein thing and the, you know, Juan Epstein thing, that was more of like, you know,
noble cause,
like rape, noble cause. It was more so like rape culture, like,
yeah.
But like cancel culture now is something that anyone can weaponize.
Yeah.
Anyone, if you feel outraged about anything, you can literally weaponize it, you know. So there's a lot of people right now that feel like they don't have a voice and they don't have any power, and they're only way to feel important is going to be to virtue signal. And how do they do that? Oh, this person over here is doing some fucked up shit. He can't be allowed to be on the, I'm going to bring some attention to this. I'm going to cause an uproar.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's going to keep happening because people are bored and they don't feel important. Like that's happening a lot in this day and age. And so, like everyone wants to be a blogger now. Everyone wants to be on Instagram now.
Influencers.
And if they can't do that, they're going to, draw some attention to themselves some other way. And maybe it's by pointing out some shit that nobody gives a fuck about until you like, oh, okay. And then some other guy's like, yeah, I do find that offensive.
Okay. Okay. How about, I know we were wrapping it up,
that was
but
a lot,
this is opened up, but this is opened up like, it made me think of body shaming in terms of like when you said Instagram influencers and like virtue signaling, right? And it made me think of body shaming. So like what was regarded as beauty back in 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, basically skinny, and not to say that skinny's out, but it has morphed, I would say. Like beauty now is a much more wider range in terms of body type, right? Like you've got people who really do value more curves and more mass in the bum to the point where there's surgeries now for it. Before it was just be skinny, but then it was be skinny with boobs. Now it's be skinny with boobs and a butt. Now it's don't be skinny, like be hourglass. Now be thick. Now like, you know what I mean? Like it.
Yeah.
And at a point, thick now, which is now deemed sexy and hot, would have been considered fat back then. So there's that evolution where this body shaming has changed, and I mean it's complex. I think everything's just going to continue to be more complex, but at the same time, it's almost like tolerance and acceptance has also evolved for it too.
Yeah, but I think there is such a thing as being too tolerant.
Too tolerant. Okay.
Too tolerant. Like, yo, not everyone gets to have a fucking opinion. Like, you need to sit down. Or else, like, we'd be letting kids do whatever the fuck they want. Like, we still have to...
Right. Yeah.
I don't think everyone is entitled to an opinion. I think everyone is entitled to an informed opinion. That's what you're entitled to, because everyone has an opinion.
Okay.
But I think what you're entitled to is an informed opinion. Like, you can't just be saying shit. Everyone has shit to say. I was playing COD today, and some dude on my team, I was trying to, block him from bullets, and the guy shooting us, he killed us. And then the dude on my team was like, oh, I would have shot him if you didn't do that, you stupid fucker. And I was just like, dude, I'm on your team. You know what I mean? So people just like, they just say shit.
I know, dude. Yeah. Oh, man. So we were playing yesterday, too.
Stop.
Yo, what's up, man? Tom.
Oh, yo, Tom. I didn't even see that. So yesterday we were playing, and this guy, it was me and Mike, and we played this random guy, and he's talking all chill, talking about like, all right, let's get this win, whatever. And we get in an altercation where I started getting shot. I didn't see the guy right away, and he started getting shot too. So my natural reflex when I get shot is to get cover. So he's doing a one-on-one with the guy and loses, right? So he's mad that he died, and he blames me for not shooting at the guy. He's like, yo, man, we should have shot that guy together. Like, we were gonna, someone's shooting at you. Your first reflex should not be to get cover. It should be to shoot back. We could have 2v1 that guy. I'm like, I didn't say anything, because at this point, in my head, I'm like, I disagree with you. But at this point, I'm not gonna fight you for it. He's all pissed. He's already pissed. But I'm like, in my opinion, I'm gonna say this is an informed opinion. I don't know if you agree, but if a guy shoots you first, he's already got the advantage because he's done damage first, right? And that's in my head. So I'm gonna lose the fight if I go one-on-one and try to exchange bullets with this guy, because it's just aim versus aim, and I'm gonna hope he's gonna miss something. And so I'm not gonna explain this to this guy, but he's like all pissed that he has to go to Gulag and come back, and he's like, he's mad at me. He's straight up mad at me, and he's like, yo, man, trying to teach me how to play in this game. And later on, similar altercation between him, Mike, and this other enemy, and he dies. That guy dies again because Mike wasn't there in time. It's like, yo, where you at, man? Like, I'm trying to fight. But it's because he died. He made a poor decision and he died. He leaves us. We're still alive. We still end up like surviving for a lot longer in the game. But he leaves, right? Because he's all sour and shit. But it's just like you said, man. Like, their emotions or whatever, it's coming in. Like, just like the guy's like, oh, if you didn't block me, I would have killed that guy. But I'm like, it's like, it's a game for one. And like, you're gonna have differing opinions. In terms of the informed opinion too, like I do think everyone is entitled to their opinion. I just don't have to agree with it. Like, that guy can say whatever he wants. I don't have to agree and like praise him for it though. Like I do think everyone is entitled to their own opinion if they're naive and they're like what's the word? Yeah, if they don't know any better. Sometimes like ignorance, they can't help that. So you can take the opportunity to maybe educate at that point, or if it's not worth your time, you can back away. So I still think everyone is entitled to their own opinion because sometimes they are uninformed and they may not be able to know better.
That's fine. What happens when the uninformed person doesn't take in the new information and is just that's in their head? That's the gospel, because that is a reality for a lot of people. Like, you will and somehow, like, that's actually like a human thing, you know, like people would rather believe a lie than believe that they were like bamboozled about the lie. You know what I mean? So I guess that's what I mean. What more so when I say like, yo, sometimes we're just like too tolerant. Like, not everyone should be able to do whatever the fuck they want and like say whatever they want in any sort of like forum at all times, you know? On some level, yes, but like, bro, like, you gotta know what you're talking about. And if you don't, you shouldn't be able to just like say shit willy-nilly with no repercussions, especially if it could potentially like damage somebody's like livelihood or, you know, life or career or whatever.
I agree. 1 second. Creven, you asked, what is your opinion about political correctness? We'll get to that. Tom, what this podcast was about today was, should Apu stay or go? I don't know if you're aware, but there was a debate. Not a debate, but Apu's been canceled from Simpsons because there's been Apu Nahaspima Petalan was removed.
I don't know why they canceled that guy, man.
All right. I mean, like, we won't go back. I mean, we've been talking 2 hours about that.
Yeah.
But in terms of Creven's question, political correctness, guys, do you have any? So we're at this point now where we're worried about the future with cancel culture, and like, it's gonna get worse. It's gonna get more complex, and that's Deji brought on the inform. You came in when we were talking about COD, but we were basically making a point about everyone isn't necessarily entitled to their own opinion, but they're entitled to an informed opinion. And I was kind of like not countering it, but I think I see it more like in ignorance. Sometimes you can't help. But if when it comes down to like an argument, like a back and forth with somebody who is uninformed versus someone who is informed, if you're willing to take part in a discussion, I think like courtesy and not even if you don't know what you're talking about, as long as you're still courteous about it.
Yeah,
you're willing to listen and communicate.
Sure.
That's true.
You know what I mean? Like, even if you're an idiot and you're dumb, just and you get introduced with new facts in the argument. Okay, well, listen and take the time. Even if you still disagree, though, there's no need to be. There's no need to be a Karen. You know, where you.
Yeah. Well, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. I mean, obviously, when it comes to that, I think that's kind of where you want everything to be, is that everyone has a difference of opinion, and then after that, you just kind of, live on type thing. I mean, you could use, again, sports as the biggest example.
Right.
Just
like about a team.
Yeah, there's a lot of teams, and I'll tell you right now, I always correlate, like, I think I've mentioned this, that I always correlate sports to politics, and people say you can't because, like, but I know 100% no one will give up their sports team over politics. Like, people will never give up their sports team over politics. That's how much power sports has. So,
right.
I mean, I am a Leaf fan, and I've lived through, holy shit, who knows how many years. I'm still waiting for them to win a playoffs, but I still think they're the best team. But with that said, I'm not going to go beat the shit out of somebody.
Yeah, right, yeah.
You know, like, oh, I can't talk to you because you're an Edmonton Oilers fan or something. Like,
Yeah.
Like, so, like, somehow, like you were just talking about, like, when it comes to the cancel culture, For sure, right now it's a big thing right now, and you know me, I've been always on the opposite side, so I've always been the right wing kind of guy, towards the middle. But I guess in retrospect, you know, sometimes there's not really right or wrong. Maybe it's popular opinion too. But the people who have the smaller voices doesn't mean you know, disregard them and shit like that either. Sometimes you have to listen to what they say to even strengthen your argument.
My take on why Apu was actually removed is again a business profitable standpoint. More people will watch the show if they feel like they've been addressed and appeased. Will like come and introduce to watch the show if you remove him, versus all the people who don't care about the show anymore and wouldn't really think twice if he was removed or not. So I think it was a business decision to remove him. After all, like obviously their bottom line is always gonna be make more money or lose the least amount of money. And I guess business wise, it makes sense to remove him because if The Simpsons is a topic of conversation, that's a good thing. They like the publicity. And there was basically a documentary that was made saying how Apu was a horrible character and like promoted like discrimination and racism, and a lot of people were bullied and stuff like that.
Yeah, who said that?
Well,
when did he get removed? Like, has it been
like
that long?
in the last 3 years apparently?
Oh, okay, so it has been fairly recent.
Yes.
Because Simpsons been around now for
28 years apparently. 20,
okay, so he was around
maybe
for
30 years.
I guess. So
Yeah.
Wow, so they really did to remove a major character. I thought he got removed like 15 years ago or something like that, but I don't know.
No.
Oh shit. Okay.
According to what we looked up today, it was just 20.
Akash Singh talk about that.
Akash Singh, yeah, he's the counter. He's the counter for it. Like he's the one who says,
you know what are you talking about? You get rid of the guy. He's got a job. He's got this. He's living the American dream.
Yeah, and my thoughts more align with his.
Yeah.
But I see why. But I still see why. It's just unfortunate that rather than trying to change and develop his character and accept what he could be, they just decided to get rid of him completely, and that's dumb. Like you just got rid of representation in the show. Like, what, you're gonna replace him with a new brown guy? Like, you know?
Can, I guess now.
I guess they could.
How do you implement it now? Like someone who just came off the plane or something? I don't know. Someone who
Right?
moved to the neighborhood?
New classmate in the class? I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like, hey, this is so and so. He's a refugee. I mean, that's talking about normal times now or something. I don't know, but we'll see. Yeah, I didn't realize it was that recent.
Yeah.
Wow.
With Creben's question, opinion about political correctness, like, what do you mean? Like, when I speak in general, I do want to, you know, portray an intelligent, like, empathetic individual, like that I listen to people, and so if I feel like something could be disrespectful, I will opt away from saying it. Is that what political correctness is? Like,
what's the definition of that?
I don't know. When you avoid certain things of certain terms to not offend people, isn't that what being politically correct means?
Just talking?
I think so. Okay, political correctness is a term used to describe language, policies, or measures that are intended to avoid offense or disadvantage to members of particular groups in a society. So, yes. Opting not to say certain things or opting not to deploy certain policies that will be somewhat discriminatory to others.
Yeah, no, I don't go for it. But I've made no secret about political correctness.
You don't do that? No. I feel like I
mean, I watch what I say sometimes, but sometimes something you say will offend someone anyway.
Okay.
So, I mean, how do you avoid? You know, I could sit there and go, Joe Rogan is the man, and that might offend how many people right now? Or Dave Chappelle.
Right, we were talking.
Dave Chappelle's the man, you know.
Yeah, we talked about Joe earlier.
So, I mean, you do. I get the definition, but the way the world seems like it's going, something you say will offend some group. Like if I think Christianity rocks, someone over there might think that, oh man, that, you know, like who knows?
Yeah, it's like, how dare you?
How dare you? Like,
how dare you? They killed so many of our people, you know, like
Christmas.
The axe.
Yeah,
so,
there was the whole thing about. Remember how they just made that Indigenous Day, that holiday, or it's not even a stat holiday, but they made it a holiday.
Oh, the orange. Yeah,
but it wasn't a holiday, and it wasn't
reconciliation. Day of Reconciliation. Yeah.
You know, like, so, where was I going with this? But like, you can come up with so many things to, you know, people were saying, you know, like the whole Christianity thing, they were offended, wanting to say Canada Day, all that kind of stuff because of Christianity and Canadians doing all that bad stuff. But yet, I said, well, you know what? It was in the past. You know, I'm a Catholic and I'll never give that up. And everyone's saying, oh, well, you know, Catholics did this and that. But then yet, how many people were celebrating freaking Christmas with their kids? Same people that were actually lambasting me about being Christian and saying, I'm not offended. I'm not ashamed to be Christian. I'm disappointed that shit happened in the past. I'm glad it's not happening now.
Yeah.
But if you know, but see, that's the way I sometimes I don't take people's offensiveness so 100% either. You know, like, oh, you know, Christians did this, but yet you're going out Christmas shopping and putting up a tree for your kids. Like, it makes no sense. So sometimes when people say they're offended, sometimes how offended are you? Are you offended in the moment? Are you offended you know, like, I don't know. I seem to see that a lot.
That's true. That's true. I mean, that's where the worst case scenario of this political correctness leads to cancel culture. It appears that that's the worst case scenario, is when you have a differing opinion to a point where it's like, you're not allowed to say that, therefore you are, you know, you are no longer valid, and we can cancel you. We can like terminate you, just like Joe Rogan or Dave Chappelle.
Well, in Europe, they had a very big thing about that. You know, in Europe, their philosophy was, if you don't like it, just change the station.
Yeah.
And that's such a big European thing. You know, that's why they have everything open out there. You know, from the sex on TV to the nudes on the beach. You don't like it, just close your eyes, go over there. If you don't like it,
all right. I didn't even think about like nudity on the beach.
That's why Europe is a very free-spirited thing. That was a big thing. I remember when they were talking about Married with Children.
Right, dude. Like where people used to like, you know, you had to cover up your kid when you're like breastfeeding in public, and now everyone's saying free the nipple, and like, or like women used to shave their armpits, and now women aren't shaving their armpits, and it's offending people. It's like, wait, what? Yeah, it's complex for sure.
Like, cancel culture is the big phrase, obviously, and how far will it go? I don't think it's gonna get that much traction, but with you know, the social media and all that, you'll always hear a lot of talking about it. You know, like, are they gonna? Some people do really want them canceled, but you know, Married with Children lasted how many years, man?
Oh my God, Married with Children. Oh my God,
that was the show. And that was on primetime TV.
It was bad, yeah. Like,
it was awesome,
but it was hilarious. No, like I mean, bad. Like when you look at it morally, yes. Like it didn't stand for anything kind of like upstanding and like what you wanted to model your family to be.
Exactly.
You know? Nothing like
it's a TV show.
Yeah, and it was a satire. It was to make fun. Yeah, you're right, man, and that's true. And
it's
it was
like playing a video game. You know, like, I know that going out there with guns and shooting people is bad in real life, but that's the whole point of the game. You live a fantasy.
Yeah.
You know, like, I played a lot of Grand Theft Auto, and I'm not that crazy. I'm not gonna go do majority of the stuff on there, but some people think it leads. I think they say like that's a gateway. You know,
it enables, right? Where you like steal cars and shoot people and go to like these strip bars or whatever and do drugs.
I think that there is some truth to that, for sure. But I think.
But if you think there's truth to that, then you're gonna think there's truth that the COD is gonna lead to people shooting other people.
Well, I think sometimes just people like to really just go over the edge and say, you know, really want to do shit. Like, I think that's what happens to a lot of people.
Yeah.
But I think the majority of us are normal.
I'm gonna buy a real Psychoff, kill everybody.
I'm gonna get a riot shield and a kilo.
Speaking of the Psychoff, you know the Psychoff, the gun that with you know how it has the round magazine?
The 80 round.
The gun that was used to kill that cop in New York, Rivera, and all that. It had that same magazine.
I did.
Illegal. The gun. I'm like, that's a Psychoff. Yeah, I'm like, the cops had no chance whatsoever. When that guy, he had a Psychoff or a Psychoff looking gun. I was like, wow. See, that guy might have played some COD.
Is that why they brought? Is that why they brought all those cops into New York City?
What do you mean?
I don't know.
You guys didn't see that police like parade of like thousands of cops in the streets of New York City, like lined up?
I did see that. Like that was 2 weeks ago when they buried the two guys. Yeah.
Oh, so none of them were the guys that got shot?
They were dead.
Wait,
Who's
no,
the guy that got shot that you're talking about?
he's wondering if that was the same, funeral ceremony for the guys that got shot with the Psychov.
Oh, I think it was Rivera, Officer Rivera, and all that. Yeah, that was the one where that was the big funeral in New York.
Yeah,
2
so that
weeks
would have
ago.
been it. Yeah, that would have been it.
Yeah, and there was thousands of cops. Well, I mean, obviously, you watch right now what's going on. I mean, the whole big thing, and it seems like that defunding the police now is, Pelosi's already backed away from it on live TV. She says, "No, we're never for that." But we did. Who made up the phrase? I mean, that was so. We'll see what happens in the future because you know what I think that the new mayor of New York is somewhat of a decent guy only because the optics are there. But this guy was a captain of the police, so he was never for defund the police anyway. He is a person of color, so he kind of throws off that whole narrative.
Okay.
So we'll see how he runs New York now because he said 100%. I'm not defunding. Like I don't believe in defunding the police. So that's why even Black Lives Matter, at least that renegade. I didn't realize there's so many sections that use the BLM name but are not together.
Oh yeah.
I didn't know that. I thought
a lot of BLM was actually like corrupt. Man.
Yeah, I thought the BLM thing was a trademark name, but now the BLM of the New York faction has already threatened the new mayor. Like if you, so we'll see what happens because New York is probably going to be the biggest test site when it comes to the cops and the violence and so forth and what goes on else around.
That makes sense. That's true.
It's the biggest city, right? New York?
Oh, either that or LA. But yeah.
I think New York, yeah. So, and we'll see what happens. So I'm very interested to see what happens in the next year or so with this mayor.
But yeah, speaking of COD, you guys want to run some?
Yeah.
You done, Deji?
Yeah.
All right. Well, no, thank you guys for tuning in. Thanks, Deji, for coming out. Yeah, we were wrapping up. We went a little bit again on a tangent, but that's always welcomed. So we'll see you guys next week. Thanks, Creven, for coming in and watching. You guys have any comments or anything you guys want to share your opinion about Apu or any kind of cancel culture situations? Feel free to mention in the comments below.
Can I ask a question about that? Just one thing.
Yeah.
How did they get rid of Apu? I don't know. Did they just write him off and disappeared? Or
apparently, they just slowly phased him out where they weren't including him in storylines, right? And then eventually, it's not like you have to create a story to take him out of the show or to kill him.
I didn't know,
right?
Yeah.
You just don't mention him. You just start not having episodes with him,
So nobody goes to the convenience store anymore, right?
Yeah, it's like Quickie Marty. No one needs to go. Yeah, Creven. This is every Thursday at 10 p.m. Eastern. We run this podcast, talk about something that's like kind of relevant during the week or anything that we kind of feel passionate about. But yeah. Anyway, thanks y'all. So long to wait. Yeah, it's a weekly thing, yo. Thanks for watching, guys. See ya. But we'll be playing some COD. I don't know. Should I stream it? We'll see. Have a good night. Peace.